Hey guys, my name is Sydney and I do the marketing for the Network Group, which is a real estate team here in the Bay Area. Today we are talking with Butch Haze of San Francisco and Khrista Jarvis of the East Bay. They're both top agents in their area, and we're just going to be talking about people moving in and out of San Francisco and the current real estate market.
Well, thanks, Sydney. I really appreciate being able to do a little market talk. Everybody is wondering what's going on, and they say timing is everything, and it couldn't be more apropos because today we had a company-wide meeting, and Allie McCarter she's the head or chief wealth advisor for UBS, and she came on today to talk about what's going on in the marketplace. And one of the things, even she was sheltering in place at her beach house in Montauk and talking about how the world has changed and how people think has changed. And the reason why I'm so excited to talk to Khrista today is because one of the things that people in San Francisco that we've seen recently over the last couple of years with homeless crime and all those things, need for schools, is a migration. At one point it was a migration to the city. Now we're seeing people really want to leave the city. And now more than ever, they're seeing their places going, I have to reevaluate how I live. And so without further ado, I'd like to introduce Khrista. Hey, Khrista, how are you?
I'm great, guys. Nice to be here today to talk market talk with you guys.
Well, this is so great. And I'm sure you've seen this yourself. We were one of those marina people. We lived in the Marina District of San Francisco. We both looked at each other, we'll never leave the city. I swore that I would never drive a minivan. And yet we find ourselves now in the East Bay, which is why I wanted to talk to you. And we're absolutely loving it. But what's one of the biggest misperceptions people have prior to moving to the East Bay and like Danville, Alamo, that you see in your, and what I mean by that is like, what have you heard people say like, wow, we never knew it was like this, I'm so happy?
I mean, I think definitely it's a change of lifestyle for people coming from the city. So sometimes people think we're a sleepy suburb and maybe it's not quite as action-packed as being in San Francisco, which can be a little bit true, but people are just amazed at how beautiful it is here. I mean, we've got so many rolling hills and the greenery, so many outdoor activities to do here, and it is kind of a different pace of lifestyle, I think, than maybe what people were used to in the city. But I think as people are coming here, that's maybe what they're used to. They're in maybe a different phase of life with, looking for great schools and, activities for their kids, which I think lends itself very well to, this East Bay area.
Well, I have partied with a lot of you wives, and I would argue that it is just as action-packed going out and sailing at the country club that it is just any Balboa night that I've ever had. It just is a little bit earlier, but everybody has
earlier.
So one of the things that I also wanted to address too, because I always find it fascinating as people go and they're looking, right? There's three different markets that people look at. It's the Peninsula, Marin, or the East Bay. Why is it better, in your opinion, to go deeper than to say stop at Piedmont and Berkeley Hills? Why go through the tunnel?
I think for a few different reasons. I think that we are definitely more affordable in comparison to, Piedmont market has always been a little bit pricier than our area. I think weather too, actually, that coming through the tunnel, we just have a lot warmer weather. So I think people are drawn to that. People like larger backyards. So I think we've got a lot more outdoor living in larger lot spaces for people to enjoy swimming pools, outdoor kitchens, barbecues. I think that's very appealing and maybe a little bit different than stopping at Piedmont.
Well, it's interesting because my wife says the same thing. Literally, what I heard is clouds are illegal in after you go through the tunnel. They're not allowed. One of the things I wanted to ask, and I thought this would be great for buyers that are looking at the different markets and areas, but you're the top agent in the East Bay, one of the top agents in the country. You have advice to buyers that I thought would be really beneficial. And one of those things is like, when they're looking and searching online, what are some of the mistakes, or what would you tell people to, I realize like orientation is so important for houses, right? Like when you live in an outdoor community like the East Bay, how the house is oriented. Are there any tips or tricks that you could share? Because most people do search online. Like, what are some of the mistakes when they're looking online, and what would your advice be for those people that are looking online, and what pitfalls to avoid?
Gosh, that's a good question. I mean, there's something for everybody here. So everyone has their own personal preference as to what they're looking for. I definitely think that it's hard to capture everything online, which I know right now we're kind of in that mode with the shelter in place, having to do everything virtually. But I think it's so important still to be able to go through a house, see the floor plan, walk through. You can only get a certain feel for certain rooms, but flow, like you said, is very important. I think people now are liking big, great rooms, big open concept spaces. So I think some people will sacrifice maybe smaller square footage for the right location. Again, it just depends, I think, on buyers' preference. There are some people that like newer construction, some people that like the older, charming neighborhoods. So I think our area has something for everyone.
Is there something that the buyers could do to, they're looking online, they see these sexy pictures and they're like, ooh, that looks interesting. Is there something else that you go, oh, but make sure you also check this, or check the schools, or, any other apps that you say like, oh, then triangulate with Google Maps, or make sure you call me?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think all of those things are good, but I definitely think that we offer a lot more knowledge having lived here. So I think for a lot of my clients, they appreciate the fact that we also have kids here. We raise kids here, or are raising kids here. So there's only certain things you can do online, which is a great place to start. And I agree to go research the schools, check out different sporting events. But I think we have a lot to offer in terms of hooking people up with the right school district or the right community that's a good fit for their family. A lot of the social activities. So I think, having a great agent that really specializes in that market brings a lot of value, just from that personal touch and being able to kind of know what is the right fit for each particular client.
Well, that's one thing that I think many people from San Francisco might not know or want to know, is that the right social environment is critical to being really happy out there too. It's like which golf club or which country club or tennis club or swim club, because your kids are going to want to do a lot of sports because everybody is outside. It's one of the best things that we've enjoyed since moving out here. One other question that I had, and I'll let you go because I know you're super busy, but how's the market right now? If you could share, like, right before the shelter in place, and then is this a good time? Like, what are you noticing in the market, and better time to upgrade or attack, or any advice you can share?
I think there's going to be a lot of great opportunity. The market was on fire before the shelter in place. We were seeing a very strong seller's market. A lot of listings were selling very quickly. Certain houses in certain neighborhoods were selling with multiple offers still and over list price. And then with the shelter in place, we're not allowed to do as much as before, but believe it or not, we've actually still sold a couple of properties in the last few weeks. So there are always people that need to buy and sell. But I think for the buyers,
for those people that are buying right now, are you offering like virtual tours, or how are you showing them the property other than the photos?
That's a great question. Yeah. So we have adopted some Matterport technology, which is to be able to walk through the house. It's like a 3D walkthrough of the property where we can. We've also are doing some video walking tours. Certain photographers are able to walk through the house, and you get their perspective as walking through the house. So we definitely are trying to use technology in a way to help showcase properties.
Yeah.
So hopefully that helps buyers visualize everything the property has to offer. But I definitely think there's going to be some great opportunities out there once the market gets, back to a good spot after the shelter in place. And I personally think that I'm sure we're going to see a little effect from everything that we're going through with COVID. But I don't believe that the market is going to come crashing down. And maybe, Butch, you can speak to that since you had that call. But I feel like we're going to, in a short period of time, be able to return to a very stable market.
Well, they've been, that's one of the things he brought up, is looking at the Chinese market because they're out of it, and there's like they call it revenge shopping. She brought up this word, revenge shopping. People are going out and instead of buying one Hermes bag, they're buying three. And and again, I think a lot of people are questioning, and that's why I thought this was so appropriate to have this call today, is that people have really that are in the city, maybe in a condo or in a smaller house, like, you know what, I realize my lifestyle is going to change, that I can work from home. A lot of companies, I know JP Morgan, some other ones where I've talked to people there, they're running Salesforce, they're running amazingly efficient with everybody working from home, and actually the employees are liking it better. They're going out, working out in the morning, working out in the evening, running their calls, managing their day completely different and being more productive. And I think you're going to get flooded with buyers, and I think it's just a phenomenal time. I really appreciate you coming on today and talking about some of the things that are happening out there. But I think most important is the information you just shared, that you have to talk to a professional that's connected. And, what would you say your percentages of off-market houses that you have? Is it 10%, 20%?
Yeah, I would probably say,
right?
What's that?
Probably higher right now.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, we've sold a couple off market that haven't even come to market during this phase that we're planning on coming to market. But because the shelter in place, took place, we weren't able to get it on market. But I would definitely say there's a fair amount for sure that sells off market, private deals that are done in-house with other agents or our own clientele. So yeah, I think it is great advice to be able to, once you kind of determine that you are going to make a move out here, to definitely give us a call and pick the right agent that can help you, find the best place for you. You're going to have more opportunity to have first chance at something before it hits the market. Plus you want to be, making a good investment. So having a local person be able to get market statistics, make sure you're making a great investment for the future is also important.
Well, that's one thing that it's interesting that you bring up. On the call today, they said, you stick, and this is what the cash is, into the economy, $13 trillion, she quoted. If you put that kind of cash into this economy, we're going to have inflation. There's one asset class that is the best to have in an inflationary period, and that is real estate. I would love for you to show, and we can post this on this link, is maybe a couple of your favorite houses, like 2 to 3 million. Like, what does $2 to $4 million in Danville, Alamo buy in some of your top houses that you love or think are great purchases, so people get out there and see, like, wow, what a difference. And again, I really thank you for your time, Khrista, to have you on, and appreciate you greatly. So.
Yeah, great. It was great chatting with you guys.
Thank
you.
Thanks, guys.